Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Schoaf, and today we're going to work on adding and subtracting mixed numbers. So please get your notebook out, and this is going to be a continuation of what we did yesterday. So our objective today is to be able to add and subtract mixed numbers. Yesterday we took notes, okay, and we ended up with number 4, so we're ready for number 5. So if you find your folder, and have that out, ready to continue after number 4 with number 5 here. So go ahead and write in your notebook 7 7/8. And when you write this for number 5, I would write the problem going up and down. So 7 7/8 plus 10 5/6 like this. Okay, go ahead and write that in your notes. Okay, remember when we add mixed numbers and subtract, we need a common denominator. So I'm looking at my two denominators here. One is an 8 and the other is a 6. I need to find a number that 8 and 6 both go into. So one way to do that is to count by 8s, 8, 16, 24, or look at your multiplication table at your 8s. And then look at your 6s, 6, 12, 18, 24. You're trying to find a number that they have in common. A number they have in common is 24. So I'm going to use 24 as my denominator. You could also take 6 times 8 and get 48. It's just going to be a little easier to use 24 because 24 is the least common denominator. So you're going to change both fractions to something over 24. Make sure you're writing this down. Okay, now looking at this, we're going to go to the 8, and we're going to ask ourselves, 8 times what's 24? 8 times 3. So if I multiply 8 times 3 to get 24, I have to take 7 times 3 to get 21. Right. Okay, if we look at this bottom fraction, we're asking ourselves 6 times what's 24? 4. So we would have to take 5 times 4 to get 20. Good. So once you have common denominators, now you can add. So I'm going to add 21 and 20 to get 41 over 24. And then I'm going to add 7 and 10, my whole numbers, to get 17. Okay, 41 24 is improper. So I can't leave my answer that way. The reason it's improper is 41 is larger than 24. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 41 and divide by 24. So let's see, 24 goes into 41 once. I'm going to borrow. 11 minus 4 is 7, 3 minus 2 is 1. If I go in a circle, this is going to be 1 and 17 24ths. But that's not my final answer. Because look back here, I have the whole number 17. So what I'm going to do is add 17 and 1 together to get 18 and 17 24ths. Now I need to make sure it's in simplest form. The only numbers that go into 1 and 17 are 1 and 17, or the numbers that go into 17 are 1 and 17, and 17 won't go to 24, so it is in simplest form. Okay. All right, write down number 6, but write it going vertically. So on your paper, do this. 6 2/3 minus 1 3/5. Okay, now looking at this problem, the denominators are not the same. One is a 3 and one is a 5. So we need to find a number that 3 and 5 both go into. So if I look at my multiplication table, or I start counting by 3s, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and then I count by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, I'm looking for a number they both have. Well, they both have a 15. So 15 would be my least common denominator. So we're going to change these both to something over 15. So on your paper, write equals and fraction bar 15. Okay, now we're gonna go back and we're gonna look at this 3. 3 times what is 15? 5, right. So since I take 3 times 5 to get 15, I'm gonna take 2 times 5 to get 10, good. And then I look down here and I ask myself, what do I multiply by 5 to get 15? 3. So I must have to take a 3 times 3 to get 9. Right. Now remember, you're subtracting. I think the most common mistake I see is people accidentally add instead of subtract. So be careful. You're subtracting, so you want to take 10 minus 9 to get 1 over 15. And then you're going to subtract your whole number, 6 minus 1, to get 5. Do you think it's in simplest terms? Yes, it is. The only number that goes into 1 and 15 is 1. So that is my final answer. Okay, let's try a couple more. Look at number 7. Instead of writing it the way I have it on the board, write it vertically. Write it going up and down. Put 8.5 plus 3 4/5. Go ahead and write this on your paper. Okay, now we're going to look at our denominators. We have a 2 and a 5. So we need to find a number that 2 and 5 both go into. So if I think about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, counting by 2s, but then counting by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, I'm noticing they both have a 10. So my least common denominator is going to be a 10. So on your paper, what I want you to do is I want you to put equals 10 for your new denominator, equals 10. Now we're going to go back and ask ourselves, what do we multiply by 2 to get 10? 5, right, 2 times 5 is 10. So here we're going to take 1 times 5 to get 5. Then if we look at the bottom fraction, I got to ask myself, 5 times what is 10? What do I multiply by 5 to get 10? 2, good. So I'm going to take 4 times 2 to get 8. Now I'm adding, this is an addition problem. So I'm going to add 5 tenths plus 8 tenths to get 13 tenths. And then I'm going to add my whole numbers. 8 plus 3 is 11. Do you think that's my final answer? No, it's not, because 13 tenths is improper. So remember, when we have an improper fraction, what we're going to do is take 13 and divide by 10. So how many 10s go into 13? 1. 1 times 10 is 10. Subtract the 3. If I go in a circle, this is 1 and 3 tenths. Do you think 1 and 3 tenths is my final answer? No, it's not. Good job. Because look back here, I got an 11. I've got the whole number 11. So I have to add 11 to this 1 to get 12 and 3 tenths. And 3 tenths is in simplest form because the only number that goes into 3 and 10 is 1. So this would be my final answer. Okay, let's write down number 8. So write it vertically. So write 4 and 3/4 first, minus 1 and 3 tenths. Make sure you're getting this in your notes. Okay, now we need to look at our denominators. We have a 4 and a 10. We need to find a number that 4 and 10 both go into. So I could take 4 times 10 and use 40, but it's not going to be the lowest number. If I use that, it'll be okay. I'll just have to do more reducing of a fraction. So what I want to do is use the smallest one. So I'm going to count by 4s. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. And then I'm going to count by 10s. 10, 20, 30. Well, wait a minute. I noticed they both have a 20. So 20 is my least common denominator. So I'm going to change them both to something over 20. So go ahead and write this on your paper. Write equals 20. Put 20 in the denominator. Okay, now let's go back and ask ourselves, what do we multiply by 4 to get 20? 5. So that means I got to take 3 times 5 to get 15. Now I'm going to come down here to the bottom fraction and ask myself, what do I multiply by 10 to get 20? 2. So that means I got to take 3 times 2 to get 6. Okay, now be careful, this is subtraction. So I want to take 15 20ths minus 6 20ths. 15 minus 6 is 9 20ths. I got to subtract my whole numbers. 4 minus 1 is 3. And let's see, is it in simplest form? Yes, it is. The only number that goes into 9 and 20 is 1. So that would be my final answer. Okay, we're ready for 9 and 10. So what I want you to do on 9 and 10 is try on your own. I want you to write them vertically. So in your notebook, write 6 3/4 plus 2 9/10 for number 9. Okay, I want you to work out 9, and when you get done, work out 10, and then you're going to hit play. So right now, pause the video, try 9 and 10. When you get done with both, hit play. Okay, so since you hit play, that means you're done. If you're not done with both, hit pause and finish 9 and 10 and then hit play. All right, here we go. We're trying to find a common denominator between 4 and 10. So the least common denominator is going to be 20. You could also use 40, you'll just have to do reducing. Okay, 4 times 5 is 20, 3 times 5 is 15. See if you got 15 20ths if you use 20 as your denominator. Here, 10 times 2 is 20, so 9 times 2 is 18. Okay, I'm adding, see if you got 33 20ths when you added, and when you added your whole numbers, did you get 8? But 33 20ths is improper, so you got to take 33 and divide by 20. It goes in once with 13 left over. So if I go in a circle, it's 1 and 13 20ths. Well, that's not my final answer because I have to add the 1 to the 8 here to get 9 and 13 20ths. 9 and 13 20ths is in simplest form. See if that's what you got. All right, let's see how you did on number 10. So if I have 11 3/4 minus 4 1/3, my common denominator is going to be 12. So 4 times 3 is 12, 3 times 3 is 9. See if you have a 9/12. 3 times 4 is 12, 1 times 4 is 4. Be careful, you're subtracting, so 9 take away 4 is 5, and 11 take away 4 is 7. Is it in simplest form? Yes. So you got 7 5/12 for number 10. Okay, we're going to do 2 more today. So now we're not ready for number 11. We're going to try 2 word problems. The first thing I want you to do is think about whether you should add or subtract. Justin is 4.5 feet tall. Karen is 5 5/8 feet tall. How much taller is Karen than Justin? Which do you think we should do? Add or subtract? If you said subtract, you are right. Good. Now when we subtract, we've got to put the higher number first. 4.5 or 5 5/8? Which one's higher? Yes, 5 5/8. So put 5 5/8 minus 4 1/2. Okay, pause the video. Work this out. When you get done, hit play. All right, let's see how you did. So your common denominator is 8. Your least common denominator is 8. You could have also used 16. You would just have to reduce your fraction. Here, 8 times 1 is 8. 5 times 1 is 5. Here, 2 times 4 is 8. 1 times 4 is 4. If I subtract, I get 1/8. 5 minus 4 is 1. See if you got 1 and 1/8 feet. If you use 16, what would have happened is you would have had 1 and 2 16ths. But if you divide by 2, that would make your 1 and 1/8. Okay, let's do one more. All right, I'm going to read number 12. I want you to think to yourself, should you add or subtract? Jade made 12 and 3/11 cups of lemonade, and Addie made 14 and 1/4 cups of lemonade. How much lemonade did they make in all? You should add. Good. So when you add, it really doesn't matter what order you put your numbers down. If you want to put that 12 and 3/11 first, you can. Or you could put the 14 and 1/4 first. That's fine. Okay, right now I want you to try this on your own. After you write this down, click pause and then work it out. When you get done, hit play. Okay, so let's see how you did. Did you get a common denominator of 44? Let's see, 11 times 4 is 44, so 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 11 is 44, so 1 times 11 is 11. We're adding, so 12 plus 11 is 33. Oops, I'm wrong. It's 23. So if I add 12 plus 11, I get 23 over 44. And if I add my whole numbers, I get 26. I always have to make sure it's the lowest term. So we see 2 will go into 44, 2 will go into 23. 11 will go into 44, but 11 will go into 23. 4 will go into 44, but 4 will go into 23. So yes, it is. So always check that. All right, so today our objective was to be able to solve problems by adding and subtracting mixed numbers. Think about where you are. A 1 if you're struggling, a 2 if you're sort of getting it, making a few mistakes, or a 3. 3 means you totally get this. If you are a 1 or 2, you may want to go back before you take your quiz today and review. Like go back and rewind and retry problems before you take the quiz. If you're a 3, it is quiz time. So go ahead and take your quiz.